Good evening. Colonel Gaddafi is facing the prospect of even
Poke
tougher
with something.
action sanctioned
Goes
by the
in.
United Nations. Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, said tonight there was no evidence that Gaddafi was complying with demands for a ceasefire made a week ago, and that additional measures could be imposed. There are more Allied air missions over Libya tonight after another day of fighting between Gaddafi's
That's going now.
opposition. Our World Affairs editor,
It
John
is, isn't it?
Simpson, has just sent this report.
The battle for Misrata. The way it goes will decide the outcome of this
hate this
entire
phone.
confrontation.
Why can't I say
The
ninth?
rebels have no answer to Colonel Gaddafi's firepower. That's why they've been so delighted that the coalition has intervened. But will the intervention be enough? The coalition hasn't managed to destroy all Colonel Gaddafi's tanks in Misrata, and it can't do anything about the pro-Gaddafi snipers in the town. Misrata's hospital has been hit by tank fire. These pictures have come in over the last few days, though it's impossible to verify them since the government here won't allow us to go there. Conditions in the hospital are pretty bad. Many of the people here have been hit by snipers. Some of the worst cases are children. Misrata matters because it's the last big town in western Libya that's still in rebel hands. Now the airport, where the Libyan Air Force plane was destroyed today, and the main hospital seem to be controlled by pro-Gaddafi forces. Fighting today is thought to have centred on the port. Last night, for the fifth night running, the coalition bombed the capital, Tripoli. These pictures, broadcast this morning on Libyan television, plainly show military vehicles burning. The government here insists that civilian areas have been hit and that 18 civilians have been killed. And Libyan television also maintained that these pictures showed injured civilians. Today, the authorities here took journalists to a funeral ceremony for civilians whom they say were killed in coalition attacks. This, like so many other things, is impossible for us to verify. Colonel Gaddafi is still promising his supporters that he'll win. A few days ago, they must have wondered if that was true. But the coalition's intervention so far hasn't been nearly as devastating as many people here expected. So, as another night of bombing begins, and there have already been airstrikes on the edges of town, opinion here is starting to shift again. If the coalition can't prevent Colonel Gaddafi from taking back Misrata, then they're starting to hope that he may be able to stay in power here after all. John Simpson, BBC News, Tripoli.
The Americans have confirmed that more than 350 aircraft are now taking part in strikes against Colonel Gaddafi's forces. More than half of them belong to the US. But the White House has underlined its wish to hand over control of the mission within days, as our North America editor Mark Mardell explains.
The pace quickens on the quayside with only minutes before the USS Bataan heads to the Mediterranean. Even as President Obama says he wants to take a back seat in the Libyan crisis, he's sending more forces out to the region. The crew hurriedly called into action.
I'm a little bit surprised, but I mean, anything's possible here today, so.
Do you think you'll be landing or staying on the ship the whole time? They'll be gone for the best part of a year. Many in America have had enough of war. Some wonder why they're now embroiled in another Middle Eastern conflict.
Doesn't seem to be shrinking yet, does it?
Jack of all trades, a troop carrier, an assault ship. There's a 600-bed hospital
It's
on
gone all
board,
in.
26 aircraft. The Commodore in charge doesn't get it with what the mission is.
Right now, it's undetermined. I mean, when we arrive on station, we'll be asked to do any of the missions that we've trained to.
Colonel Steidle is in charge of the 2,200 Marines heading out to the Med, but the UN and the President are clear there'll be no American boots on Libyan soil. Doesn't that leave you with not much to do?
I don't make policy decisions. I execute what higher tells me to do.
At the United Nations, the Secretary General suggested the mission could change. He said the Libyan government hadn't met its obligations, and his representative has warned them this is not the end.
If Libya did not act to comply with Resolution 1973, the envoy stated the Security Council may be prepared to take additional measures.
The nature of the mission is decided by those in charge. Until now, that's been America.
desperate to relinquish command to NATO, and it now looks as if it'll happen soon.